From the moment they stepped in, the two kissed all the way to the floor minus to minus ceiling window, their hurried breaths mingling together. The younger brother's wildness is too much for the lawyer's sister to handle. In the dimly lit room, two figures were intimately entwined. From the moment they stepped in, the two kissed all the way to the floor minus to minus ceiling window, their hurried breaths mingling together. Xu Yan leaned against the floor minus to minus ceiling window, one arm wrapped around her slender waist, while his other hand gently held her restless hand, slightly creating distance between them. "You're drunk," a muffled male voice sounded in her ear, carrying an intensity of desire barely held in check. A warm breath landed on her ear, sending a wave of tingling sensation that made Tang Shuang's body tremble slightly. How come this person stops kissing as soon as they start kissing? She frowned unhappily, her gaze distant as she looked at him, her tone slightly defiant. "Not drunk." No sooner had he finished speaking than, before he could even open his mouth, she leaned in again and kissed him. "This doesn't look like someone who's not drunk at all." Xu Yan didn't lower her head because of the height difference. She could only end up kissing his Adam's apple. His Adam's apple rolled gently twice, and his dark eyes sank slightly, with complex emotions churning beneath their surface. "Tang Xun, do you know who I am?" He paused for a moment, then lowered his head and looked at her intently. His eyes filled with anticipation. Xu looked up at him, in the moonlight. His features were somewhat blurred. She cowed to make him out clearly, nor did she recognize him. "You're a handsome guy," she cried out and burrowed into his arms, the faint fragrance she carried wafting into his nostrils. Not hearing the answer she'd been hoping for, Xu Yan lowered her gaze with a hint of disappointment. However, before that incident, they hadn't really had much interaction to begin with, so it was perfectly normal that Tang Xun cowed and remember her. He knew that if she hadn't been drunk, she would never have done something like this to him. Although it might seem a bit like taking advantage of someone's misfortune right now, this seems to be his only chance. After a period of inner struggle, Xu Yan finally made a decision in his heart. "You're the one who started provoking me," he murmured softly, then pulled her tightly into his arms once more. He tilted her chin up and kissed her soft, red lips with a domineering and commanding intensity. The last shred of sanity completely vanished at that moment, leaving the two of them to sink together into oblivion. The next morning, bright sunlight streamed through the white curtains onto the bed, waking Tang Xun from her deep sleep. She rubbed her throbbing head and sat up, squinting slightly as she took in the unfamiliar surroundings. Her mind felt a bit blank, as if it had just gone offline. Where am I? Why am I here? Why does my body hurt so much? Before she could even figure out what was going on, she suddenly noticed a pile of clothes scattered on the floor, clothes belonging to both men and women. Her brand minus new skirt, which she'd just bought, was mixed in with them, and its neckline had been torn. Realizing this, Tang Xun instantly came to her senses, and vivid images from last night flashed through her mind. She seems to have slept with a stranger. Yesterday, she just helped a client win a major lawsuit, and the firm's boss insisted on celebrating with her, so they set up a celebration. She checked into this hotel. She doesn't have a very strong alcohol tolerance after just 2 drinks. She already felt a bit dizzy. Originally, she'd come out looking for the restroom, but somehow she ended up getting caught up with a strange man and then went on to do a series of ridiculous things. Thinking about those things, she just wanted to crawl into a hole and hide. After a brief moment of shock, Tang Xun quickly calmed down. Although the whole thing was utterly absurd, now that it had already happened, running away wasn't an option. She'd just have to deal with it properly. A stream of running water came from the bathroom, indicating that the man hadn't left and was taking a shower inside. The skirt was no longer wearable, but luckily there were still a few bathrobes hanging in the room's wardrobe. She grabbed one at random and put it on. At least she wouldn't be completely naked. She found her bag among a pile of clothes, opened her card holder, and pulled out a bank card, placing it on the coffee table. After finishing these tasks, she took a deep breath and sat quietly on the sofa, waiting for the person in the bathroom to come out. After waiting for about 10 minutes, The bathroom door was pushed open and a tall, upright figure stepped out. Tang Xuan's gaze first fell upon his long, straight legs, then slowly moved upward. He was wearing only black trousers, with his upper body bare, revealing sexy, perfectly sculpted abs. His physique was quite impressive. Her gaze continued to move upward, taking in his delicate collarbone and chin, which still bore a few lingering, subtly suggestive red marks. Higher up was his high bridge nose and those stunning Phoenix like eyes. Wait a minute. Tang Xun was startled to see the silver dyed short hair and the unfamiliar face, handsome yet still tinged with youthful innocence. How old are you? She asked nervously, her voice trembling slightly. Zhu Yan hadn't expected her to wake up right after he finished his shower, and he paused briefly in surprise. Hearing her question, he snapped out of his daze, took a step closer, and gave a slight tug at the corner of his mouth with a teasing tone you already forgot just from last night's experience. Tang Xun instantly realized He misunderstood her meaning. She forced a calm expression on her face, her ears faintly reasoning, I was talking about that. I was asking, have you reached adulthood yet? He just turned 19 2 months ago, he answered truthfully. Tang Xun breathed a sigh of relief. Goodness knows, the instant she first laid eyes on his face, she had already started wondering if her career was about to come to an end right there and then. She really had it rough. In the brief moment when she was lost in thought, Zhu Yan had already walked over and sat down beside her. The sofa wasn't very big to begin with, and he was so tall, and as soon as he drew closer, their legs pressed tightly against each other. Even through the fabric, she could feel a wave of intense heat, especially since he still carried the lingering dampness from his recent shower and the fresh scent of body wash. Every breath she took seemed to be filled with nothing but his aroma. She cleared her throat naturally, pushing the bank card from the coffee table toward him. What happened last night was an accident. There's 10,000 yuan in this card. Consider it my compensation to you. A smile instantly vanished from Zhu Yan's face, and she frowned unhappily. Are you treating me like a duck? I didn't mean it that way, Tang Xun quickly explained. This was all my fault. My drunkenness caused it, and I'm the one who's responsible for what happened. I should have taken responsibility for you. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, he said, his mood slightly improving as he raised his eyebrows ever so slightly. But if you'd like to take responsibility for me, that's fine too. As he spoke, he suddenly leaned forward and pressed her down onto the sofa. He was about 1.88 meters tall, while she was only 1.68 meters. This height difference created an overwhelming sense of dominance. No need for money, he said, meeting her gaze and subtly lifting the corners of his lips with a teasing tone. Just be my girlfriend. What? Tang Xun was so shocked that she almost jumped off the sofa. What nonsense are you talking about? I'm not talking nonsense, Zhu Yan said, his gaze fixed on her with a heavy intensity, his tone stubborn and unyielding. Tang Xun, if you've slept with me, you'll have to take responsibility for it. Tang Xun was speechless, caught off guard by his words. She forced herself to continue. Little brother, between adults, when it comes to something like this, it's entirely mutual consent. There's no question of who's responsible for whom. Besides, I'm so much older than you. Were just not a good match. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. Zhu Yan's fingertips gently traced the lock exposed beneath her bathrobe. The boat triggered a slight tremor. Sister, you didn't say that last night. His tone carried a hint of resentment and also a touch of seduction. Cuddle up to me and tell me I'm better than anyone else. Tang Xuan's face instantly turned bright red, and she wished she could just sink into a crack in the ground. What on earth had she said last night? That was just me talking nonsense because I was drunk, she hastily protested, pushing his hand away and trying to stand up, but he pulled her back into his arms in one swift motion. Zhu Yan rested his chin on her neck, and his warm breath brushed against her skin. But I'm serious. His voice was deep and earnest. Tang Xun, I've liked you for a long time. Ever since I first saw you at the law firm, I've been smitten with you. Tang Xun was completely stunned. She never would have imagined that this 19-year-soul boy actually knew her, and had liked her for so long. You? Curie? She looked at him in confusion. Julian, he said, giving his name, his eyes filled with a hint of anticipation. Don't you remember me? I'm the younger brother of Lawyer Shu. I came to the law firm looking for him last time and met you then. Tang Xun suddenly remembered that Lawyer Shu did indeed have a younger brother, and at the time, she had even thought that the young man had striking features. Zhang Yang was truly dazzling. She just hadn't expected that he'd be the very man from last night. She was momentarily speechless, unsure of how to respond. Seeing her look of hesitation, Julian's eyes flickered with a hint of disappointment, yet he still let go of her and took a step back, giving her some space. It's okay. I can wait until you figure it out. He picked up the bank card from the coffee table and handed it back to her, saying, You keep this? I don't want any money. Tang Xun looked at him, her heart filled with a mix of emotions, as she gazed at the young man before her. Only 19 yet already bearing a stubbornness beyond his years for the first time, she felt as though she'd truly gotten herself into a mess that she simply couldn't shake off. As he looked at her, the smile of assured victory lurked in the depths of his eyes. He'd been waiting for this day for far too long. This older sister, he was determined to win her at all costs. Last night's accident had merely allowed him to take the first step ahead of schedule. He tightened his grip on her hand. I'm so happy just having you here. This time he was certain happiness wasn't an illusion, nor was it a distant starlight out of reach. It was right here, in the palm of his hand, in the future that was within his grasp.